Good day, McVeigh, and happy Wednesday. Good morning, boys and girls. Let's get started with our birthdays. Wow, many today. Happy birthday today to Layla Talley in our fifth grade, Anthony DiCosta in our fourth grade, Ishmael Hamid in our fourth grade, Logan Valletta in our fifth grade, and Alyssa Joshua in our kindergarten. Okay, boys and girls. You ready for some jokes? Sebastian came through with some jokes for us. Thank you, Sebastian. Here we go. What's black when it's clean and white when it's dirty? Black when it's clean, white when it's dirty. A blackboard. Now, parents, you might remember we don't have a lot of these in our school. So how would it be now? Because we use whiteboards, right? It would be different. So sometimes we use colors and markers, but we used to use blackboards in school. And we would write on the blackboards with chalk. And then at the end of the day, somebody would wipe them off. All right. Thank you, Sebastian. What kind of bow can't be tied? What kind of bow can't be tied? A rainbow. And look at that beautiful picture. Love that. Good job, Sebastian. Thank you. Now, our riddle. I have to say, many of you did a lot of work in figuring out these different things from yesterday. So, the riddle. Emily, Eli, Veronica, Sebastian, Siddharth, Gia, plus the people from the day before that I mentioned yesterday, all got the riddle correct. So here was the riddle. Bobby threw the ball as hard as he could. Nobody touched it. And it didn't touch anything. So nothing. And it came back to him. What happened? So Zach said something interesting. He said he threw the ball around the world. Now, that is an interesting answer because I said he threw it as hard as he could. And if, boys and girls, somebody could throw a ball that hard, it would stay in our atmosphere. It wouldn't go straight up into space. So that is possible if somebody had that kind of strength. But the distance around the world is 25,000 miles, so that'd be pretty tough. But proper thinking, Zach. But the answer was he threw the ball straight up as hard as he could and came back to him, so nothing touched it. Well done. Okay. So we have a new riddle for today. All right, here we go. You ready? Mary's father had 5 children. They were Nana, Nini, No, and Nunu. What was the name of the 5th child? Plenty of clues right there. All right. Now, moving on to name that town. So this was a cool one. Here was the picture. And I thought you might like this one. So you see right there are some flowers and then it looks like some skyscrapers. It was Garden City. See? Garden City. All right. So for today, so Savannah, Emily, Eli, Zach, Emma all got that. Well done. All right. So for today, where's my other one for today? I think it's on this one. Okay, here it is. You ready? Take a look. What is this one? That is a swing set, by the way, because that's a swing set. What is that one? See if you can figure out that Long Island town. All right. Now, where on earth? So, here were the clues. So, Miss Paridi and the sea lions were a big clue. Okay. Then I showed you these, the size of those turtles. And many of you got it. Yes, she is in the Galapagos Islands. And the Galapagos Islands, boys and girls, they are off the coast of Ecuador. And if I had shown you that, it would have, because you see what Miss Paridi did? She showed us that Ecuador. And the Galapagos Islands are very well known for their wildlife because of its very unique climate. So the Galapagos Islands situated right on the equator, so you would think it'd be very hot. But because of the current of the water, you see they're in the middle of this big body of water, the ocean, and the way the current flows, the water is generally cool, and so the island doesn't get as hot as some other areas that straddle the equator that are right on top of the equator. And so their wildlife is very different. And so the giant turtle is only there, and this kind of sea lion is only there, and they're very friendly there. As a matter of fact, the sea lions are very social. But then I learned that Miss Kay went there too. So she sent me some cool photos. Take a look at this bird. Now I want you to look at his feet. If it looks like his feet are blue, they are. What kind of bird is this? And then look at this bird. This bird is not perching its head on an apple. That's part of its head. Look at that bird. Can anybody figure out what birds these are? And again, think about the Galapagos Islands. You can look to find out. Very cool birds. And I love these. I hope that I get to go to Galapagos Islands someday. Now I want to go to all these places all over the world, I have to tell you. All right. So today, where on earth, again, is Miss Wallace? Now, one of the things you might be thinking is, where has Miss Wallace been before? What are the places that she likes to travel? All right, let's see. So all of these pictures come from the same place, and they all have a clue. All right. They all have a clue. Here she is again. Take a look at the landscape. Okay. Here's an animal. What kind of animal is this? And two more clues. Look at the sea creatures. Last one. This one looks super cool. Again, I hope I get to go here too. Check that out. Where on earth is Miss Wallace? All right. So we shall see. So you have a couple things to figure out for tomorrow. The town, the riddle, and where on earth is Miss Wallace. Plus, a new challenge, those birds. See if somebody can figure them out. Okay, so moving on to science. So we had the experiment yesterday where we saw Patrick had used two different temperature bowls of water and the balloon. And we saw that in the cooler air, the balloon deflated. In the warmer air, it inflated. So the question was, why? And we're getting back to this same conversation. So Emma said, well, the balloon deflates in the cold water because the air is cooled. Okay. And Patrick said so too. Yes. The cold water needs less space. It needs less space. Okay. So that makes sense. The balloon shrunk. It needs less space. So therefore the hot water needs more space. Okay. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. She said the cold air is more dense. That's why it needs less space. And the hot water is less dense. So in other words, the molecules in the cold air come together. Kind of like when you're cold, you try to stay really tight and bundled up. And when you're hot, you kind of go. Very similar in the concept. So you're nice and dense and tight when you're cold, and you kind of want to just not have any of your body parts touching the other parts when you're super hot. So when the air is cold, it's denser, therefore it takes up less space. And when it's hot, it spreads out more and becomes less dense. So dense is the quality of something. So I'm going to use this cookie as an example. Right now, this cookie is dense. When I break it up and spread it out, it is less dense because it became smaller pieces and moved apart. If I were to be able to put it back together now, it would get more dense. That's kind of like what the air is, what's happening with the air. Okay, I had to throw that out because it would spill that all over the floor. But now, pay attention to Caden Kim. His science fair project is about air also. Love this one. Listen carefully.
Hi, my name is Caden Kim, and I want to know about if air has weight. I think air has weight. First, I'm going to fill up this bag with air, and I'm going to empty this bag with no air. And I'm going to put these down here, and then I'm going to compare these two. The one that's heavier means it's greater. So I'm going to put these two down right now and see which one's heavier. So right now the bag with air is heavier, so my hypothesis is correct. Bye.
All right, so how cool was that? Okay, so what Caden did is he created what's called a balance. So a balance is sort of like a scale where you're measuring one thing against the other. So what you notice in the beginning is he had those two paper plates and they were hanging. We call that suspended. It was suspended and they were even, which means the paper plates weighed the same amount. If one paper plate was heavier, you would have seen that paper plate lower than the other. Okay, so in the beginning, they were even, which means they weighed the same amount. Okay, then he took the same size bags, same exact bags. If he had put those bags without anything in them on the plates, you would have seen that the plates stayed even. But what he did instead was he filled one with air, blew into it, and tied it off, and then left the other one with no air. And he put them on the balance he made. And what you saw was the one with the air tilted. It went down, which means that it was heavier. So he just proved to us that air, the air we breathe, weighs something. It has mass. It is something that we can measure. So we think that the air, like we can't see it. We know it's there because we breathe it, but it actually has mass. It weighs something. Super cool, right? Excellent. That's what science is. I love that. Now, it'd be interesting, again, to see what else has mass and the difference in mass or different air. Cold versus hot. Would it be different? Hi, see that? So that's how science works. So I'm super excited about that project and all the projects that were done. I'm super excited about all the work you've done during our distance learning. And I've missed you terribly, but I've had a good time learning with you with the science and where on earth. We have a few more days. Don't worry. And don't forget, on Friday, we have our Flag Day ceremony. Very excited about that, too. 9 o'clock for kindergarten, 9:30 first grade, 10 o'clock second grade, 10:30 third grade. Fourth grade is at 11, and then our fifth graders at 11:30. Boys and girls, you're really going to want to come. We get to sing all of our cool songs, hear all the birthdays for the summer like we do every year, because it'll be our last morning announcements. I know, I'm going to miss you guys. All right, but that's okay. We'll see each other soon. But now it's time for our mighty kind moment of the day. So let's get our drum roll. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So this one is jumping out at me. So I'm going to go to the wall behind me today. I have all these different sources you might have noticed. All right, let's see. And I always say this, I should wear my glasses. Let's see what this says. Oh, you will never regret being kind. You know, that is true. Okay, so what is regret? So, regret is the feeling when after something happens, you say, I should have done that, or I should have done this, or I should have done that differently, or I wish I did something that I didn't do. And it can be something like you go somewhere special and somebody says, hey, why don't you go on this ride? And you say, no, I don't want to go on the ride. But it's your only chance to go on the ride. And then afterward, you regret, meaning you wish you had gone, but you didn't. That's regret. But sometimes regret can be the way that you treat somebody, where you say something that you shouldn't have said and didn't mean to say. Maybe you're having a bad day or a bad moment. And that regret is hard because the way we act towards people can impact the way they feel. It can make them feel badly. So this says you will never regret being kind. So in other words, if you're kind to somebody, you'll never feel like, oh, I wish I hadn't said that. Oh, I wish I didn't mean to make you feel badly. So being kind helps everybody, even you. And we've talked about that because it fills your bucket, but it also means that you'll always feel good about the way that you acted. Even when somebody is not so kind to you, if you're kind in return, you can always feel good about what you did in a situation. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. That's sort of what I was talking about yesterday. The person that cut me off, it's hard to be kind to somebody who's doing something to you that you don't like. But if you use your mind, you can be, and then you'll always feel good about the way you responded. You won't regret what you did. What if I honked my horn crazy and yelled at the person and, they had a real emergency in their life? Imagine that. I would feel badly about that. I would regret that. So if I use my mind and be kind, I won't have any of those feelings for myself. And that's good too. And that's being kind to myself. So I love that. I don't know who wrote that. Again, all of these things that we have used, the stars, the bags, and these behind me throughout our entire distance time have been by our teachers. So one of our teachers wrote that. But I don't know which ones and that's one of the ways that we do it. We keep it anonymous, meaning without your name. All right, boys and girls. Anyhow, I know you can do it. Why? Because you're a mighty mind. Not only that, you're a mighty kind, mighty mind. And every day is a great day to get smart and be kind to both each other and the earth. I hope you like this McVeigh shirt. Let's have a wonderful day.